A progressive new master plan has been devised to ensure Cyberjaya remains relevant and competitive within the tech industry space. Significantly, with the new master plan, Cyberjaya provides vast opportunities to tech investors and businesses to establish their presence in Cyberjaya. Now, how to create a sustainable, high-value, comprehensive business launchpad and strengthen its position as a global technology hub. I'm Azaria Tagaya, and this is Money Matters. Now, Cyberjaya is the perfect home for global tech powerhouses and promising startups. It has excellent infrastructure to support growth across all areas, ready talent pool, attractive incentives, and a supportive and involved community. To speak about plans put in place, we have in the studio now Cyberview Sdn Bhd's Managing Director, Datuk Muhammad Najib Ibrahim. Hi, Datuk. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Hi, Azaria.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here today to talk about Cyberjaya and this whole plan to actually revitalize Cyberjaya through your master plan. Now, as the tech hub developer, Cyberview has actually been mandated to revitalize Cyberjaya. Can you tell us more about this master plan? And also, after 2 years of the pandemic, what are the current areas that is your company's focal point?
Right. Cyberview itself has reinvented the company from just merely being the landowner of Cyberjaya, later on moving on to be the facilitator and also cyber city manager. From tech hub enabler, now we are the tech hub developer of Cyberjaya. We've been given the mandate by the government of Malaysia to spearhead transforming Cyberjaya into a global technology hub. By having so, that we need to have a long-term plan which is more in tune with what are the needs and requirements of the current industry. As we all know, that Cyberjaya used to be the multimedia super corridor hub, or the catalyst for multimedia super corridor. Now, having said that, as technology or ICT advances so very rapidly, now we are looking at Cyberjaya as center for technologies, namely technology in an area of AI, robotics, smart mobility and whatnot. So among other things, we devised with the help of Roland Berger, we came up with this new master plan for Cyberjaya. And namely, we're looking at Cyberjaya itself is being identified as 4 distinctive zones. The North Zone for global businesses. It is a transit-oriented development zone, whereby we have these 2 MRT line station located at the North Zone, namely the Cyberjaya North and also Cyberjaya City Centre MRT station. Also, we have a thriving business area we call Downtown Cyberjaya. And on the west side, we have all these universities and higher learning institutions where academia and also industry can collaborate to come up with new initiatives with regards to IT. And last but not least is the most recent one is the South Cyberjaya, where we introduced it as an innovative zone. So within this zone, we are focusing on 3 areas, namely smart mobility, smart healthcare and digital creative. So these are the new master plan we have for Cyberjaya. On top of all those incentive infrastructures they already have in place in Cyberjaya itself.
Why these 3 focus areas?
Because these 3 focus areas, namely smart mobility, smart healthcare and digital creative, if you look at this, all of the new tech, embedded technology, namely like AI, blockchain and whatnot, basically they are also embedded into these 3 areas.
I see.
And we foresee that these are the 3 areas that Cyberjaya should be focusing on, apart from all the other areas with regards to technology.
Indeed, fantastic. And Dato, how does the plan actually implement efforts to in areas such as capacity building? Capacity building.
Okay. Cyberview, we ourselves, we have our own plan. For instance, like the Cyberview Living Lab program. Start off from a talent accelerator program, piloting and also entrepreneur. So these are the program under Cyberview itself. So from this initiative, we'll be able to nurture talents, transform them to become startups, SMEs, and later on become the enterprise themselves. And apart from that, the reason why we're having this program in Cyberjaya is that to support the needs and requirements of all the investors, especially multinational corporations that's coming into Cyberjaya. And what we're creating is that like-minded people within one space where we'll be able to produce a vendor program with all these multinational corporations.
Indeed. So this is in some ways getting to make Cyberjaya and also the state of Selangor into a thriving business ecosystem for these companies.
Exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, because if you look at let's talk about the state of Selangor.
Yeah.
State of Selangor is really located in the middle of Southeast Asia. You know, it's located in Peninsula Malaysia. And if you look at the map, Cyberjaya is smack in the middle of Selangor State,
yes,
the Golden State. You see, we are just stone throw away from KLIA, stone throw away from KL City Centre, and also the international port. So Cyberjaya is the best location for investors to come in and invest, especially in the technology area. That's for one. And having said that, we are working very closely with the state of Selangor to be able to bring investors to come in and invest in Selangor state itself, if not for the whole region. Because you look at the catchment area for the state of Selangor and Cyberjaya itself, it's located right smack in the middle of Southeast Asia, when you have a catchment area of roughly more than 400 million population. Right. So the location itself is there.
Indeed, and we'll talk more about the location and attractiveness to investors as well after this. But I need to ask you about, 2021, it was quite a challenging year. But so far for 2022, how has Q1 been for you?
Well, it's relatively new. You know, it is something like we have never been to this stage in our economic cycle. But actually, we are very glad that. These days that the economy is opening up, and then the pre-pandemic situations have come back. Yeah? But then again, there are also other challenges because people are a bit reserved in terms of how and where they want to invest. But amazingly, during the pandemic, we realized that use of ICT is much more apparent. We need to infuse technology into our day-to-day living. For instance, there's a lot of use of data, and actually we have abundance of data during the pandemic. Then what's happening is that they actually create a lot of demand for data center to be coming to Cyberjaya to open up new data centers. As we all know now, Microsoft is already there in Cyberjaya, and a lot more interested multinational corporation. They're coming into Cyberjaya and they wanted to build their own data centers as well in Cyberjaya.
Yeah, well, the location, the connectivity, and also the facilities that you mentioned just now are some of the factors that make Cyberjaya interesting, as well as the state of Selangor as well. But we're going to talk more about that after the break, Datuk. It's time for us to take a short breather. After this, we'll be talking more about Cyberview Sdn Bhd, and also we want to know about the investors. What are their concerns? All that coming up after the break. Thanks for staying with us on Money Matters. We're speaking with Cyberview Sdn Bhd's Managing Director, Datuk Muhammad Najib Ibrahim. Now, Datuk, before the break, we touched a little bit on the aspect of attractiveness. I understand that Cyberview is also aiming to attract not only Malaysians, but also Southeast Asians, and you have plans to actually boost the tourism industry. Could you tell us more about this?
Okay, as we all know, the creative industry in Cyberjaya has been thriving for quite some time now. You know, we have produced a fair bit of creative content in Cyberjaya, and it's been basically out in open. For instance, like we have Osama, which is Agent Ali. Also, we have this Bobo Boy, and these are the things that actually already there in Cyberjaya. They have been there for ages in Cyberjaya, but we want to take it one notch up by having another theme park with the same vision, whereby that we are going to use local IPs, intellectual properties, to spearhead or to be the backbone of this theme park. And currently we are looking to have this collaborations with Las Kopak, the producer of this animation called Upin and Ipin. We are looking at the possibility of having the theme park there in Cyberjaya. because the product itself, as an IP by itself, you know, it is much more cheaper to have an IP, local IP, to be used in this kind of theme park, right? It's going to be very expensive if you're going to take, you know, IPs from overseas, from Disney, Pixar, and whatnot. So I think this will work, especially that the catchment area for Upin Ipin, if you see much within this area, they have a lot of followers from Indonesia and neighboring countries. By having so, they will be able to attract more and more people coming in just to visit us and look at our IPs that are available in Cyberjaya.
Fantastic.
Right.
Can you share with us perhaps how much this is expected to cost and how long do you think the project will be carried out?
Oh, okay. We are looking at the span of 2 years. Unfortunately, we won't be able to share with how much it's going to cost.
Understood.
But yeah, we already have looked at the numbers, and at the moment, it is very promising that we're going to have such a facility or theme park in Cyberjaya.
Wonderful. Well, I think we're all looking forward to that.
Yes, we do. Yep.
Yes. Okay, so another thing that you mentioned just now, Datuk, is investors. And we understand that one of your core functions is investor relations services. Now, when we talk about investors, what are the challenges that they may be facing? What are some of their concerns?
Okay. We realized that back in the old days, we do not have a center when investors, be it from foreign direct investors or direct domestic investors coming into Cyberjaya, they do not know where they want to turn to, right? So we created this center called Cyberjaya Investor Services Center, whereby all these investors that come in to Cyberjaya, they can talk to us, and we hold their hand to meet up with all these investment promotion agencies for the like of MIDA, Invest Selangor, and all. It's actually this service that whenever that we have potentials or rather from MIDA or Invest Selangor, we do bring them to our center, and we help assist them how to can they do business or rather conduct business in Malaysia. For one thing is that perhaps these days incentive still the main agenda, you know, but again ease of doing business as well is in an issue, because sometimes these foreign companies, when they come into Malaysia, they need to know where they need to go to. They need to know how to open up even simple thing as bank accounts and things like that. So this center that we have, CISC in Cyberjaya, so we're able to help these investors and then bring them to meet to the relevant parties for them to be able to do things much more faster.
Right.
On top of that, apart from ease of doing business, this multinational corporation, especially foreign direct investment, they do have their requirements.
Yeah.
So in terms of requirements, sometimes they need better connectivity in terms of internet. They need power supply, they need water supply. So this is where Cyberview, we are in collaboration with KUSEL, a state company of Selangor, to assist the infrastructure for these companies when they come in and invest in Cyberjaya, because their requirements are basically different from any other normal companies. So by having so that this collaboration with the state of Selangor, directly with the MBI of Selangor, you'll be able to iron out all these issues that perhaps that the potential investors are facing with regards to be getting all the supply of electricity, water and whatnot.
All right. And Datuk, Malaysia actually drew in 7.2 billion ringgit in digital investments in the first half of 2022, and this is expected to create more than 10,000 job opportunities. So what do you think makes this country such an attractive destination for investors, especially when you have plans of turning Malaysia into this digital hub for ASEAN?
Okay. For one thing is that we should be able to create an investment friendly for businesses to come and invest in Malaysia. That's the most important thing. But we can't do it alone. Cyberview can't do it alone. We realized that back then, during the old days, that if Cyberview want to go out there in the open and start to promote Cyberjaya out to the world, we wouldn't be able to bring them in. So what we did was we start to work very closely with the investment promotion agencies, the like of Invest Selangor, Invest KL, MIDA and whatnot. So when we go in as a team. We don't go alone. You see, so when we go as a team, all the agencies working closely to be able to bring businesses back to Malaysia. We are facing stiff competition within the region, even Indonesians and Vietnams and also Thailand. They're coming up very strong. So in this area, that's why collaboration is very important. Because again, the issue now these days, we have plenty of incentive, right? We are also working with all the investment provision agencies to to come out with a package incentive for the potential. But it's all about ease of doing business. So that's why we managed to bring in investment from Turkish to SAS Group. You know, they are in aeronautical and defense. We're able to bring in the light hematogenic. They are into this, what you call this, sample for testing cell. And these days now we have to send these specimens to Australia, you know, to elsewhere. But now we already have that installation in Cyberjaya. We can do all this specimen testing in oncology area in Cyberjaya. We'll be able to bring more and more multinational cooperation in the area of data center. So these are the areas that actually we're able to bring people to come and invest in Cyberjaya, if not Malaysia.
Well, I was going to ask you about the plans moving forward, but it seems from what you've told us so far, Datuk, it sounds like the future sounds very exciting for Cyberjaya. Well, Datuk, it's time for us to take another short breather. We'll be back after this. When we come back on Money Matters, the outlook and plans moving forward for Cyberview Sdn Bhd. Don't go anywhere. Money Matters will be back after the break. Thank you so much for staying with us on Money Matters. You're still with me, Azaria Tagaya, and we're still joined by the Managing Director of Cyberview Sdn Bhd, Datuk Mohd Najib Ibrahim. Now, Datuk, before the break, we talked a lot about your plans for Cyberjaya and this whole master plan, but we want to know what is your long-term outlook and also your strategies moving forward for Cyberjaya and also for Cyberview Sdn Bhd.
All right. The outcome of our plan in long-term run is by 2045, we are looking at to contribute 350 billion ringgit Malaysia to the national GDP. 87,000 jobs, creating a job from 1,200 companies operating in Cyberjaya. That will be ultimate outcome of this master plan. But nonetheless, you know, as we know that the technology moves so very rapidly, and as time moves on, a likelihood of this thing will change. Perhaps it accelerated even more faster, as we can see. So these are again ultimately that we want to play a crucial role in contributing to the state and if not the national GDP.
Speaking about that, what role do you think Cyberview will be able to play in the future in terms of building this business ecosystem building towards the economy of the state of Selangor?
Okay, because Cyberjaya itself now it houses a lot of what you call it global business services, and the recent news stated that Malaysia is third after India and China. In that aspect, in that sector, Cyberview Cyberjaya has done quite a lot. We have a lot of global business services located now in Cyberjaya, but we want to move up the change, whereby that we're no longer focusing on that, but we want to create more and more high-valued jobs. You know, by having more and more data centers, we need more data engineers, you know, data scientists, analytics and whatnot. So by having so that Cyberjaya, rather spearheaded by Cyberview, is moving up as the technology evolve. So I can't say now that this is what you do, but perhaps in the next 1 year or so, that the change is going to be very rapidly. In fact, it's exponential. Previously, it would take decades or even centuries for changes to happen, but these days now, it's year on year.
Yeah, it's fast. Things are moving fast.
So what we have in Cyberview is a very dynamic, holistic master plan, whereby that it still remains free. It doesn't cast in stone. So perhaps that today, I'm talking to you with this master plan, but perhaps next year we'll come up with a more advanced or interesting master plan.
It might be different. It might have more aspects to it.
Definitely.
Well, Dato, we are nearing the end of the show, but before I let you go, I cannot let you go without asking you about the budget, because the tabling of the 2023 budget is just around the corner. So what would be on your budget wish list?
Okay. Of course, we look at it, it comes from basically infrastructure. And infrastructure, we're looking at it one for one, is that we definitely need to improve our connectivity. You know, in Cyberjaya, we do have a lot of 5G testing and pilot testing in Cyberjaya, but then it's not enough. We have to do more. That's for one. And then secondly, is that we do expect that for us to be spending more on capacity and talent development. It's very important because, as we mentioned, technology moves so very rapidly. You know, there's a need that we need to have talent to be able to sustain the business. Because investors wouldn't want to come to Malaysia if you don't have the talent. You know, so the area of data analytic, data scientists, you know, business analysis and whatnot, this is very important. We have all the data, but unfortunately we don't have people that many people be able to churn data. So if we can spend a lot more on capacity and talent development, that would be great. Because people come to us because we have what they need.
Indeed. You said it best, I think, Datuk, when you said we have to be on top of things and have the correct talent to carry things forward. Well, Datuk, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's session. Well, for the past half hour, you've been with us on Money Matters. Thank you once again to our in-studio guest, Datuk Mohd Najib Ibrahim. Thank you for sharing your insights with us on Money Matters.
Thank you. All pleasure. Thank you so much, Azaria.